Hello again to all you broke wargamers. Poor Andy the Dungeon Miser has returned for part 4 of the ultra cheap Undead Army build. I hope you've been following the series. My goal has been to make an entire playable Undead Army for less than $20. So far I have been able to make 3 units of basic troops with leaders, 3 elite units, and 2 kinds of war machines for just under $10, and I still have $10 left to give this army a powerful general and build terrain for the whole army. If you haven't yet watched the previous episodes, I encourage you to go watch them and come back for this leader project. When it comes to leaders for an undead army, I have a lot of good choices. I could make a powerful mummified pharaoh, or a lich king, or a wicked necromancer, but I really wanted to make the most out of the materials I have already been using for the rest of the army. So when I look through the skeletons, zombies, plastic knights, and so forth that I've already used, I decided the best use of that material would be to make a vampire general. I picked this particular zombie figure because of the bald pointy head and the rat-like face and the large ears and the gaunt chest. It really gives off a very Nosferatu feeling. So I took off the silly zombie arms and then snipped off the torso from the legs. And for the new legs, I picked out this plastic knight with a super dynamic pose. I snipped it just above the belt and trimmed the zombie torso to fit right on it. It got pinned into place, and then it was time to reposition the head and pin it on. For the new arms, I chose the chunky claymore and shield from one of the unused skeleton warriors. The bony arms go perfectly with the gaunt torso, and the weapon is just the right size to be impressive for a leader. Finally, no giant vampire general is complete without big scary bat wings, so I borrowed some wings from this cheap novelty dragon. Go big or go home. Those got pins in the back as well, and now it's time for the base. Normally I don't spend much time on a base, just to keep things as simple and easy and low cost as possible, but I really needed to make the leader of this army a sight to behold. Unlike with RPGs, putting fear into the heart of your opponent is a must, which means your leader has to be as scary as possible, and that means making a big fancy terrain base for him to stand on. So the zombie tubes come with these dumb tombstones for some reason, and a lot of them. I started with a 50mm base, and I used a couple of the smaller ones to build up the base, along with a few pieces of gravel, spare zombie head, some skeleton bits, and then topped it off with one of the big tombstones. I then added a few of my cocktail skewer spears around the side and pinned the finished vampire down. Everything got Mod Podge primed and paint, and here is the finished vampire general. Definitely a lot more complicated to build and to paint than the regular troops, but still very easy to assemble, and this hideous monster certainly adds the finishing touch to the army. To price it out, it was 7 pennies for the zombie, 12 pennies for the knight, 10 pennies for the bone arms, 50 pennies for the wings, 25 pennies for the base, and a penny for art supplies, so $1 and 5 pennies for the vampire general. So now, if we add the price of the Vampire General to the rest of the army, that makes the total cost for this force $10.44. So now I have everything I need to get started playing war games for just over $10. Of course, I can continue to grow this army with more inexpensive units that will make it bigger or give me more flexibility when creating an army list. But just getting started, $10 is perfect for an army. The only thing that I really need now is a field of terrain to do battle on. Join me for the 5th and final part of this series where I will use the remainder of my $20 budget to make a complete terrain tablescape. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to see the unique terrain and of course all the fantastic minis for Pennies Creations. And if you're loving this series, you can always buy me a coffee at the link below, like these Cracker Jacks. Thanks for your support, and keep pinching those pennies.